Such a blast to watch. Little Witch Academia, Episode 3, just put a smile on my face the entire time I was watching this series. When I sat down and I started watching the episode, I knew I was going to expect a good episode. However, I didn't expect to enjoy this episode way more than the previous two episodes. Just the interaction with Akko and everyone around her, and how she constantly tries to keep an optimistic mind and trying to better herself with magic, and also the world building on top of that, makes for a very enjoyable episode. And this episode gives us a lot of world building, stuff that I've wanted to see when I was watching the OVA and movie, and that is what we get. We get clarification to what the Sorcerer's Stone is. We get clarification to why some can use magic in certain places and they can't in others. We found out now, how Akko, when she tried to practice magic a long time ago, why she couldn't use magic, because she was far away from the Sorcerer's Stone. We have it on top of that, we have, stories about this person that flew across the entire ocean on this broom that is powered by its own magic, and we found out about items that are powered by their own source instead of by the Sorcerer's Stone. A lot of world building in this episode, and I truly appreciate that, because that's stuff I wanted from the series when I started it, and I'm glad that we are getting this now with this episode of Little Witch Academia. Now, regardless of all of that, Akko is the main focus, along with a broom that was introduced in this episode of Little Witch Academia. Akko, she notices that there is a relay coming up, and she wants to participate and be a part of it, because she found out Shiny Chariot, which she adores quite a bit and is like her idol, a long time ago, she actually won, and she had her picture put up on the wall. And since Akko is someone that wants to follow in the footsteps of her idol, she wants to do the exact same thing. She wants to be like Shiny Chariot, get her picture right beside Shiny Chariot, before she could be, happy. She's like, I am living up to the standards of my idol. And so Akko's entire goal of this episode is to win the relay race, but also learn how to ride a broom, which in reality, there's just no way in hell she'd be able to ride a broom, like, right off the bat. I mean, this is someone that's been recently introduced to magic. I mean, she knows about magic, but this is, like, the first few days or week or whatever since she's really gotten to learn how to use magic. And so her just now picking up a broom, never really knowing how to fly, and finally trying to learn how to fly, it wouldn't make any sense if she actually won. So, in reality, I'm really glad she lost. I'm really happy that Akko, even though she got this broom that was very powerful and it can, run off its own magical source, has a mind of its own, I'm very pleased that Akko did not win. It would honestly kind of undermine all of these other characters in the series that have been training for a very long time or trying to learn magic, learn spells. It would just undermine them completely and make them seem pointless if Akko, that was a complete novice that wasn't really good at magic, just came in and just started whooping ass and just won the entire race and had her picture put up on the wall. I'm like, what the hell? So I'm glad that was not done. I really like how Studio Trigger handled that, and they did not allow Akko to win. She got in second place, but she did not get in first place, so she did not get her picture up on the wall, but still, the point stands is that she did not win, and I'm glad that that actually happened with this episode. So the broom in general, this broom runs off its own source, and it has a story about it to where it would kick off the riders of the broom, and it would be very aggressive. It's something that continuously wants to fly. And so, it's a dangerous broom. It's been locked up, and nobody should ever try to ride this broom or let it out, because it's just that dangerous. Well, eventually, the broom gets broken out, and one of the characters from the actual movie pops up and helps break the broom out, tries to use the broom in the relay race, but finds out that she can't ride it, kicks her off, and escapes. Eventually, Akko comes about noticing it, she finds it, and she decides to ride it, but the broom, since it does have a mind of its own, is like, fuck you, and tried to kick off Akko completely throughout the entirety of the episode, but eventually, it seemed like she was able to kind of stay on for the most part, and be able to kind of make it towards the end of the race. Now, judging by the way this broom was introduced, I'm going to assume it's very important. I want to assume it's going to be something that's going to, reappear and pop up once again. I mean, at the end of the episode, it seems like the broom might have accepted Akko, or might eventually accept Akko for who she is, because we did find out that brooms, they will eventually accept you. If you treat them nice and you sleep with them or whatever, eventually they'll realize that you're supposed to be the rider. So I feel like maybe that broom, since it did look at Akko and Akko jumped on top of it and put the chains all around her, and she had that crazy reaction face, which badass by the way. When she had that face on and she had the chains wrapped up around her, I'm like, yo, this broom looks at her and is like, what the hell are you doing? You're a psycho. Like, the way the broom looked at her, like, if that man had a face, or a girl, I don't know if it's a female or a male broom, but if that broom had a face, it would look at Akko and like, what the fuck? Like, the face would be like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? Just Akko getting on, just strapping up with the chains, putting her feet on the broom and all that. That was hilarious as fuck. But Akko did free the broom, though. She broke the shackles on it, and eventually the broom was able to open up the ending part of the broom, and you saw, like, wings expand out. And so my assumption is that the broom will eventually pop back up again, and I feel like it's gonna like Akko because she freed it, because she got the shackles completely off of it, and it was able to spread its wings like it wanted. I mean, it's like a bird or an animal. You know, if you treat it nice, eventually they might come back. I mean, I don't know how many of you have ever heard that story on the news, but there's a story about a man that saved a penguin a long time ago, like a couple years ago or whatever, 5 or so years, and he saved the penguin, and he nursed the penguin up in health for, I think, like a year or so, or maybe an entire summer, and then the penguin eventually disappeared, but came back next year around the exact same time, and has came back ever since. Every single year, this penguin has come back, and that's kind of what I feel is going to happen here. I feel like maybe this broom, after Akko being so nice to it, and then actually treating it with respect, but on top of that, freeing it from its shackles, it might eventually come back and try to be her broom, or stay with her. I mean, we'll have to see where that goes, but I believe that's where the story's trying to direct us towards, especially when it comes to Akko ever flying. Now, speaking of the Sorcerer's Stone, this is something that's very fascinating, and it can lead to a very interesting plot, depending on where Studio Trigger takes it. Since we found out that the Sorcerer's Stone is the source of all magic, and if you're far away from it, you can't use magic, you can't really fly around or anything, so this lets us know that people around the world far off from the Sorcerer's Stone cannot use magic, or I'm going to assume, going on a limb here and assuming that they need to charge up some form of magical device with power or something, and then they could probably use magic. That's what I'm assuming, because, you know, knowing a lot about magic from other series, how series usually work, of like, you can't use a magic because you need to be close to a certain source, most likely, usually wizards or witches, they need to charge up, like, certain relics, talismans, and stuff like that, to be able to use magic, and maybe that's kind of how Little Witch Academia is working. Majority of the wizards, they can't use magic way off out in the world, but the only way they're able to use magic is by powering up a certain talisman, which might explain Shiny Chariot with her, you know, wand, you know, using the shiny rod. It makes sense how maybe Shiny Chariot was able to use magic thanks to probably charging this wand up. And if I believe so, I think in the movie, didn't they say charging up the shiny rod? I think they did. I only watched the movie once, but I think they did. I could be wrong about that, but I think they did say something like that, that the rod was charged up, so maybe that's how they use magic outside of the school. Regardless, though, we do know that there is magic items that can be powered without the Sorcerer's Stone, so I wonder exactly how that happens. How do these certain objects have their own magic that do not run off of the Sorcerer's Stone, like how the broom is able to run off with its own magic instead of using it from, you know, the stone. I'm curious about that as well, and I can't wait to see how Studio Trigger dives into that. But regardless, though, let's look at how important this stone is for a second, okay? Regardless of, you know, talismans being charged with magic or whatever, or the broom running off its own magic, let's just assume someone doesn't like witches and wizards, okay? Wouldn't you go out of your way to destroy the stone, the Sorcerer's Stone, if you didn't like witches or wizards? Because it seems like something that important would be a target for people that wants to cause harm to anyone that dislikes, you know, if they dislike witches or wizards. They'll go out of their way to target that. And I feel like that's going to be a crucial plot point. I really do. The way that was introduced, the way we found out how, if that's gone, they really can't use magic, I feel like that's going to be a target. Someone is definitely going to pop up that does not like the Sorcerer's Stone. They do not like, you know, people like witches and wizards, and they're going to target that and try to take it out. I see that definitely happening. Calling it right now. Now, regardless of all that, I say the series so far in these past 3 episodes has been very creative and fun, and I'm glad Studio Trigger continues to flesh out the world, continues to give us good character interactions and development / characterization for each individual character, and I'm enjoying so far the ride of the series. This is the 3rd episode, and usually this would determine if you're going to continue watching or if you're going to drop a said anime series, and after watching 3 episodes, and after seeing this episode and thinking it's one of my personal favorites of this series thus far, I'm definitely going to continue watching it. I've had a hell of a lot of fun, and I believe many are having a hell of a lot of fun watching this series too. I mean, we have great cast of characters, we have a very interesting world, I mean, we have really great voice actors, great music, the art style is awesome because it's by Studio Trigger. It's a great series, and so far after 3 episodes, I'm definitely going to continue watching it, and I'm just going to ask how many of you are going to continue watching. Are you going to drop it, or are you going to continue watching it? I'm very curious to see who will, because, I mean, sometimes many have different opinions on what they like and dislike from an anime season, and so I'm curious, like, how many of you? And let me know your honest reasons. I mean, if you dislike, Little Witch Academia, please let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below, and if you love the series as well, I also want to hear that too. I want to hear both sides. I want to see what people dislike and like about the series, and what you think Studio Trigger might be able to do or improve, or what you've already enjoyed and they've already exceeded your expectations. Please let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. And I love you all so much. You have a very, very wonderful day or night wherever you live. And no matter what time you watch this video, even if it is after 30 minutes of upload, a minute after upload, or many days, or maybe months or years, I still wish all of you a very, very great day. And I wish you many great days ahead of you. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.